Tonight, we're telling the stories of Pride Month. Today marks exactly 10 years since the U.S. Supreme Court's landmark decision of Obergefell versus Hodges, legalizing same-sex marriage across the country. And while it may feel like we've reached the finish line for marriage equality, some fear that right could still be taken away. Tonight, THV 11 executive producer Lauren Johnson looks back on how we got here and what happens next.
Pride Month is a celebration of the LGBTQIA+ community in all its forms. It's a time to make a statement, highlight show-stopping creativity, and fierce talent. It's a party. It's also...
Pride is about resistance. Pride is about a fight.
A riot, more like it. That's how the first Pride really began. In June 1969, police raided the Stonewall Inn, a not-so-underground gay bar in New York City. Raids like this happened all the time, but on that June night in '69, people turned the Stonewall raid into a riot, which turned into a gay rights revolution. In the decades since, the fight, the riot for equality, hasn't stopped in America or in Arkansas, especially when it comes to the legal right to marry who you love.
The THV 10 o'clock difference with tonight's big story, Your Vote, 2004.
Election night in Arkansas, 2004. The natural state goes red for George W. Bush, helping elect him to his second term in the White House. And like many other states that year, Arkansas asked voters to define marriage.
Marriage in Arkansas ought to be a man and a woman, and that's what the people have affirmed this evening.
We adopted a ban on same-sex marriage into the Arkansas Constitution in 2004 as part of that trend.
Fast forward to 2013, when the U.S. Supreme Court struck down part of the Defense of Marriage Act, the 1996 federal law that banned same-sex marriage. A move that UA Little Rock professor of law Joshua Silverstein says got the ball rolling everywhere.
There was just an avalanche of litigation with the vast majority of courts around the country ruling that same-sex marriage was protected.
A year later in Arkansas, Pulaski County Circuit Court Judge Chris Piazza, amid lawsuits from local couples, ruled against the state's ban, calling it unconstitutional. And for the next 8 days, while the legal debates raged, the race to get married was on. County courthouses flooded with same-sex couples, not wanting to miss the chance to secure a legal marriage license, worried the window would close once again. But then on June 26, 2015, the fight at the state level became moot. In Obergefell v. Hodges, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the right to marry is guaranteed to same-sex couples under the Constitution.
When all Americans are treated as equal, we are all more free.
Stand up, fight back!
Back to the present, where Pride Month brought hundreds of people out to Little Rock's Soma neighborhood in early June, including newlyweds Whitney Butler and Victoria Capek.
We felt a little fearful of what was going to happen.
As fiancés, they'd planned a small wedding ceremony for May. But months before, on the heels of the 2024 presidential election, Whitney says they felt the need to take a more proactive approach.
Should we go ahead and get married? Should we wait? So one random Friday afternoon, we met a judge in Benton and got married legally. We were like, this is not going to be our wedding date. This isn't going to be a day of an anniversary, but this is just going to be a day where we solidified the joy and kind of took ownership of the fear.
That fear of what could happen, even after a decade of marriage equality in the U.S., it's something Professor Silverstein says is not unfounded.
I think that Justice Thomas and Justice Alito would clearly vote to overturn Obergefell as soon as they get the chance to do so. The three liberals on the court definitely would not. What would the remaining four do? It's anybody's guess. But there are already states passing statutes and possibly some litigation that's begun to try to overturn Obergefell just the way they did Roe. So there's tremendous legal uncertainty, and the answer is we just don't know.
So in the meantime, Pride Month marches on, and it's clear that the fight, the riot for equality, is far from over.
Although it is so much fun to celebrate with each other and wear our rainbows and be proud, with the amount of people who are living fearfully, specifically Black and brown trans individuals, we still have so far to go. And that's what a reminder of Pride is.
Lauren Johnston, THV 11 News.